We need to see this guy.
You know what? What is
No, I coordinated all that.
All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order of the First Prize redevelopment joint overlay zoning district. Consolidated planning board, this being Monday, August 21st. First order of business, roll call. Martin here. Clarissa here. Greg here. Anything to the department, Sean?
A couple of things for the board to be aware of, in terms of our external reviews. We still don't have contact from DOT formally, the county as well. We probably, Bill and the applicants talk to them. I don't have anything on file, let's just try to get some correspondence. We reached out to them just to, get those items in there. We did hear from our division of pure waters, about the sewer under the road there. If you want to talk about that a little bit more internally before we go back there. It's all, it's in a condition that, and sort of track over that, we should be aware. So other than that, I'll ask Guy if there's anything else I can cross his way. And then,
Not yet, but as we discuss things, I might want to make it.
Good.
And just with respect to DOT, Ted Morstead from Credit Management here. So questions that I Joe's comment. Bill Green is standing down on Bill works on this project. We did meet myself and we met at DOT, what do you think, like 2 weeks ago, and they said that they're hopeful to have comment to us within 1 month of the meeting. I think that's very aggressive, just given where Great Man's other projects stand as far as how long it's taken DOT to get comments back after that initial meeting. So that is underway process.
I assume they know how important it is to have their comments.
They do. If that means anything to New York State Department of Transportation, but
I just wanted that on the record.
duly noted.
They know. Anything from the Army Board? Okay. Bill, you want to go ahead and?
Yeah, so I'll turn it over to Bill, Frici, just to talk about how we plan to advance.
So, see, this been before, most of the changes are, tough to say this to point out, so many changes in the front entrance. We've right in, right out, so this is not as confusing or different options. So we made this one way in and this is one way out. The other utility plans that we changed or modified related to the water system. We provide service line to each of the buildings for the water. The loop stayed the same, everything stayed the same. Our sanitary sewer concept advanced to sleeve the existing culvert or existing sewer line that's in the barrel. And then we're going to tie into the city hall, which is on the future plans. As far as the stormwater goes, we've eliminated the infiltration on the ground field areas. We use the biofiltration basins, and dry soil that have poly liners on. So we don't have infiltration practices in the ground field areas. Major change for landscaping. It's just really additions. We added landscaping around foundations. Typical landscaping. Towards the west, we've also added buffers, the ball fields, landscaping buffers. We continue the landscaping scheme along Exchange Street. And with that, I think our plans are final enough to potentially schedule any meeting, DCC combined meeting. We have lighting plans, which we have, I'll think of where we're going with that. The glow around the perimeter indicates a 0-foot candle. So that's the dropping line. And these contours are where the light poles are. What we have shown are down style LED lighting. We're proposing 18-foot high fixtures. Down style, like I said, and cutoffs for the. But this could be formalized in our next submission for our final plans. That, I'll put it over to the board.
Can you go back to landscape plan again? Am I saying most of that landscaping on the inside of the fence? Isn't there anything along Exchange Street on the outside?
We're not proposing getting on the other side. We're proposing the walkable side. I guess we can see what we can fit on that side, and if it's a little tight. But all the landscaping, you're correct, is on our side of the fence.
Are you screening the neighborhood from the residents that will live there?
We're not proposing any screening on the opposite side.
No. I mean, I'm guessing asking, is the neighborhood really that ugly that you need to screen it out from people that live in your building?
Screening to turn for landscaping, we're not, it's not gonna, it's gonna soften view for these parking spaces. But you will be able to visually see between them.
I think you need to get something on the other side of the fence, even if that would mean moving the fence. I mean, it's it'll be a long, solid stretch of fence. And I think you can, by moving the fence and getting it on both sides, I think you can actually really do a really nice job there.
I offer an example of the freshwater piping. And to me, that's a look that should be seen from the road, not necessarily from the park. That would require a fence to be a little more vegetation on the outside.
So my concern about having vegetation on both sides of the fence is making this access to the fence. So maybe instead of having the vegetation or landscaping, like pick the side, because I would want them to be able to maintain that fence. If they're looking down, these maybe speed down issues, you know what I mean? And if we're putting landscaping on both sides, I can see it being an issue with access.
We could mirror, put the fence closer to our parking lot, at least leave a buffer for snow storage. And put all of the landscaping on that side, not in the right.
That's the point, we just gotta make sure that you can maintain all that.
Yeah, no, and it doesn't make sense instead of having a fence in the middle of the landscaping, you flip it. Right, so you have a fence closer to the parking lot, all of the large landscaping outside the fence. We still just, perhaps the small beds on the inside of the fence.
Right.
Nothing to solve the vegetation itself on the outside.
We could put this row of trees closer to the right here. And then put the fence closer.
Yeah.
Parking lot, at least in front.
I don't think anybody's ever said that they're having. I mean, we've had many projects that have sections of fence, landscaping in between. So it's much more decorative looking.
Gotcha.
I don't think we need 1,000 feet of fencing to make it look like you're fencing 500.
Section.
I think it does make it look a lot.
Doesn't even necessarily have to be all in a straight line either. You can bring it up, with zigzags here and there. It is a very long strip. It is. And, I mean, you want it to be attractive on both sides. Your residents as well as everybody driving by.
All right.
We hear you.
Now, do you have more to talk about the traffic points, or you just go to address?
I think it's go to Joe and then any questions, we have a great manager.
Yeah, just had a question about, the entryway. And, if I'm a resident of the building on the right, as you're looking at the site plan there, I'm gonna have to make 4 turns to get home. So I'm just wondering, what was it with that design is? The building that's on the right, entryway.
That one?
Yep.
So there will be a secondary entrance as part of the phase one, so the option would be to go this way also. But one of Jim's comments was of the two-way traffic in both lanes. So to avoid that, we decided to go one in and one out. I guess there could be some interconnection here with the third lane here, but I think that's. That might not be, so Ralph, and I think that being bigger, but I believe there's plenty of queue, there would be an interconnection between here.
This area was right enough to have two lanes, so one a turn lane into the parking lot, and another one a straight lane going out of the complex.
Yeah, those driveways are, they would be large enough. That, I think the idea was more of a radio stations.
But then they also have the opportunity, the option to separate. If they're coming in and going to that building to the near right, it looks here, they have the option of coming into the complex, taking a left or right into the complex, taking a left, and then taking another left into for that building, right? Not necessarily going down, no, not there, like over one, right there. If you got that line right there. Yeah,
So this is the entrance for these two buildings.
right,
So in order to get in there, you say you come here,
yeah,
take a left,
Yeah.
take a left.
Yeah.
Take another one.
or right, whichever way.
So
I drive the wrong way.
you get there, it's not lights.
But it looks to me, I guess my question is, there's two ways to enter into that parking lot to access those three buildings.
This,
Yeah.
this is a two-way entrance, it can either be accessed through this, which is this driveway.
Three ways.
This driveway will be installed as part of phase one. So then it's a possibility if once you live here, you know, you can go back. But you're right, you have to come through here, traverse again.
Yeah, and that was a concern that we had raised previously with this entrance alignment and the orientation and one-way circulation is those two connections on either side. To do it this way, you really gotta make those one way so that people aren't coming out.
No, I
Potentially
appreciate it.
go in the wrong direction, so we had thought of making the island smaller. And then having those, each of those lots on each side connect direct into that main entrance road. That somebody doesn't have to go around that island.
I'd be more inclined to eliminate those 2 points. I mean, you know, it seems like you have to make a lot of turns to get into those first couple of buildings, but the reality is every other building further into the property, you're gonna have to make a bunch of turns and drive further. It's really not that big a deal. And it would seem like you could do have a cleaner and more grandiose entrance without either of those cross, whatever you want to call it. It's either one of those two parking.
You're talking about maybe this.
That one and the one on the other side. I mean, some of this is aesthetic. I don't know that it makes a huge engineering difference, but the fact that someone's got to make 4 right turns to get to one of those buildings is inconsequential later on. You're living in one building in phase 3. True. And I think you can, as I say, I think you can make the area just even more grandiose than what we're planning.
By eliminating those two.
Will that make any difference regarding fire or police? If
Fire trucks should be going on, that fire trucks.
Okay.
I would think. Joe, any engineer issues that you see we eliminate those two? No.
The only thing is, you know, crazy, right? This is probably gonna be the first building up and going.
Yeah.
So, but you're gonna have to construct entries anyways.
Yeah, sure, so.
There's not gonna be no pedestrian connection to the main entrance.
No, there's a walk.
To connect to the sidewalk exchange.
Right.
Well, that makes it even better getting rid of those.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now you can have a straight shot and people don't have to worry about incoming traffic or weird traffic, unless you get a quick right turn because they're not paying attention.
The other thing at one point, and maybe this was, maybe you looked at it, but I thought we discussed, and again, this is aesthetics. The clubhouse, trying to take the clubhouse building and I'm kind of symmetry. Yeah. Right? Shifting that to the right so that it line, as you're coming in, so that it lines up directly with your entrance way instead of it being offset with it. Which would require it to take some units from one building and flop them to the other side probably. And I don't know, maybe there's more involved than what appears, and it can't be done, but yeah, I'm just kind of raise that as an aesthetic.
Yeah, Craig, I think that they were trying to keep that building more on access with that one-way team. As opposed to splitting the island.
Right, so when you come down the entranceway, that's the first thing you do, that, and I hear you symmetry, sounds symmetry guy too. But it's more,
Yeah, that's what we'll take into this.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Joe, you want to start talking about that?
Yeah, so we had, you know, they had sent out the detailed traffic study, in July, and our office has gotten a chance to review it, so we did issue a letter dated, August 14th. I do have extra copies. Does anybody need a copy of our letter?
Maybe I'll-
Take it off.
Oh, good. You guys need copies of the letter? Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
So our letter is kind of broken up into two parts. The first half dozen or so comments are really kind of, I'll say, planning related. Talking about the global sense, about the review, and then the comment 6 through 14 are really, technical in nature and more geared towards, traffic engineers, talking to traffic engineers. So, I'll go through the planning related comments. So the first comment is really just kind of summarizing our review of the traffic study, and basically our findings are that, you know, based on the access arrangement that the site has on Exchange and, you know, the build out over, you know, a multi-year period, we don't expect that this project is going to result in such significant traffic impacts that it's going to need to build additional capacity into the you know, adjacent roadway system. Obviously, there's some pretty decent technical comments in here that still need to be addressed. And we did our review absent any comments from, you know, DOT or Albany County or the city DPW or the town DPW. So obviously our comments need to consider any comments that get brought up by those agencies as well. But that's our initial findings. Second comment kind of talks about existing traffic delays that exist out there between Everett Road and the I-90 interchange. You know, that's an intersection that continues to experience significant delays during the peak hours. Obviously, this project is going to add traffic to that intersection. It's an extremely challenging intersection from a traffic management standpoint because of the, you know, the geometry of the interchange and the bridge that goes over the railroad as well as I-90. You know, there's not a lot of things that you could do to mitigate additional delays, and I think that's why, you know, we're seeing the delays that are out there. Like I said, this project is going to add traffic to it. It will incrementally add additional delay, but not to the extent that we thought that this project would be responsible for, improvements, at that intersection. Obviously, that intersection is governed by, DOT. Like Bill Hudlock said early on, we're still waiting for that to complete their review, and we haven't gotten any initial feedback, from that. So the next comment is one, if you go through the traffic study, the way that the traffic study works is to build out over 4 phases. And the traffic study does a good job of evaluating, the existing conditions, now as compared to what it's going to be like after phase 1. Then it looks at, the conditions of phase 1 compared to after the build out of phase 2, all the way through phase 4. So incrementally, there's relatively minor, impacts evaluated with each successive phase of development. And there's some minor things that are identified as needing to be done to signalization in order to, keep traffic at its most efficient system possible out there. But nonetheless, it's really hard when you're reviewing the study to get a snapshot comparison as to, what the existing conditions are now compared to after phase 4 of development. I think they're expecting that this project is going to be developed over, like I said, multiple years. I think up to, is it Bill or 10-year build out of that project? Obviously it's based on, demand, and if the demand is there, we're assuming that this project will be, built out quicker than that. And I think that's where that comparison makes us into full build out is to paint a clearer picture and help confirm that, offset traffic police are required. So their next comment is about an existing signal out on Exchange Street down at the intersection of Fairfield Ave and Wilkins Ave. That's an existing signal that's been there for quite some time. And the study looks at how that signal operates. We're not proposing any changes to that intersection, but it is a signal that just relies on timing. There are no actuator controls there. And the study points out the fact that signal would benefit from being upgraded to today's current standards and using either actuated controls or possibly elimination, which we are not in favor of, because we do think that it has, good traffic control through that neighborhood and even some traffic calming effects. So not supportive of its elimination, but nonetheless, we did want to bring it to the town of Colony's, their goal of that signal, to their attention to see if they feel like any improvements to that traffic signal to make it a little bit smarter and more reactive to traffic would be a benefit to traffic in the area. So that's something that we identified out of the study. And then the last, planning related comment is more about the process. This project has gotten all that kind of acceptance, and as Bill appreciated described there, well into their final site plans. But the project does still require a secret determination. Traffic, we've always said was a big part of making sure that this project is not going to result in significant environmental impacts. And in order for us to feel comfortable in recommending to the planning board, that a negative declaration pursuant to secret is appropriate, we really want concurrence from the agencies that are, directly involved with managing traffic in the area and their own review of the traffic study. So, those agencies include Albany County Department of Public Works, City of Albany Department of Public Works, New York State DOT, and Town of Colony DPW. Even though some of those other agencies aren't technically involved agencies that we need their direct approval, we are going to look for their concurrence before we're going to make a recommendation regarding secret. Bill had talked about DOT being in the middle of their review. I'm not sure where those other agencies are with their own reviews, but we're gonna want to get something in writing from each of them. And if they've got any concerns, we want to make sure that those concerns are satisfied to their satisfaction before we come back for a big determination. Going down through the letter, and again, we've got another dozen or so comments that are kind of technical in nature. We are asking that they all be addressed in a revised traffic study. We don't think that the findings of the study are going to be that significant from what we've already reviewed, but nonetheless, we do think that it warrants a comprehensive revision to the study. And again, like I said before, based on having to address these technical comments as well as picking up comments from many of these other interested agencies on the traffic side, we'll have to confirm that no offsite traffic improvements are required of the project. And I just wanted to clarify in reading the letter, again, tonight, the letter is really focused on traffic and traffic related impacts. But, we've continued to say that from a local roadway, we're very concerned about, the condition and the way Shade Street, is currently designed. And we do think that this project, should be contributing to comprehensive improvements to Shade Street, at least through the frontage. With making improvements to the road, obviously we're going to deal with construction related impacts. So if you look at the condition of the road now, we think that that's going to obviously continue to deteriorate through the build out project. We're expecting that, this project will, benefit and need a improved streetscape experience along Exchange Street. With sidewalks, curbing, and some improved drainage along its front. So that's not identified in this letter. Again, that was something that we picked up in our previous, project reviews. Again, this letter is more about the traffic study, which didn't get into the need for those types of projects. So.
Any comment? Oh, Dave. Okay.
We didn't take any issue with any of the comments. We'll address them. We are kind of looking to get DOT's input and the county so that we can address all of them. But one of the longer lead time items is going to be the connection analysis, so we can order those, get those out of the way, and then hopefully in that time get those comments from the other agencies collectively. And we can comprehensively address all of them.
I had one question at the moment, Jeff. Do you have an approximate cost analysis of what it would cost to make that light in the change or do the smart one?
I would say probably 150 to 200,000. Ken, you thought?
Yeah. Right now, there's no pedestrian accommodations there. You could go out there at 1 o'clock this morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's the same time, just running through it. Upgrading it would mean putting some detection in there. So if you're on Wilkins and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, the light knows there's somebody there. There's nobody on Wilkins. Changes very quickly. You can put in pedestrian accommodation at least to get people across the street. It just depends on what's the right of way, what's the available area there. Obviously, there's been a big upgrade to St. Creek, sidewalks and controls at a couple of those intersections. So think about that is what this would eventually kind of look like.
Any questions on the board? Anything else in that? Next up here, Sean.
What's that?
Next up, Sean. Guy, did you have something you want to cover?
Well, I might as well bring it up. The first letter of August 10th. Responsive comments from Joe and Jay. And item 1 kind of writes off any obligation to attend to the condition of the county sewer that is on the project side of Exchange Street. It's already pretty poor shape, waves and, bottles and is likely to need attention. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I want to mention that the town is looking into, what might occur when we've got 12 and 14 units going across, that for the next 10 years. It might be better to upgrade sooner than later. And we may be seeking some contribution or obligation of our developer. I'm speaking of the town attorney hat on. I know I think my planning board first rights of law doesn't affect the city so much, it doesn't affect the town. It's town attorney. So we're looking into that. I just want to bring it up. But we haven't accepted your comments to paragraph number 1. It's under review. Fair enough.
Anybody else in the board? Have any?
At some point, especially as it sounds like maybe the landscaping plan is headed towards post finalization and whatnot, it would be nice to get some renderings from various points along the way with the buildings and colors, the actual colors you're gonna use on the buildings. I mean, we're not quite there yet, but I just want to.
I think, Mary, finish it.
Yeah,
We don't want to wait till
yeah.
we're there to have a question about some architecture. Meeting, third week in, September.
Yeah, can Joe, we're just review a little bit of process with you. I'll let Joe talk about the next steps, that'll make it.
So, we talked about, how this dovetails in the seeker. Obviously, Guy brought up, one example of other things that are tied into that seeker determination. And we know that plans are advancing to a final site plan stage. The process doesn't technically have a preliminary site plan approval process stage at it, but we think that the seeker stage of the project is important, going to give the planning board another chance to look at the plans and feel comfortable with the overall scope of the improvement. So what we're recommending is that now that the site plans are say at a 95% level, and the departments we haven't heard from, the concepts review stage, we're recommending that these plans be redistributed to all the technical departments of the city and the town. And we give them a chance to review those plans and feel comfortable or not with the general scope of the project. And then we have another technical review committee meeting where we get any other outstanding comments out on the table, because again, we want to build all of that stuff into a secret determination. And if there are comments, we want those to be shaken out before we come back before this board for a secret determination. Once we're comfortable that this general scope of the project is nailed down and the outside agencies are comfortable, we're gonna prepare it, and draft a declaration for the board's consideration, and present it to you. And we expect that would be the next meeting. Based on, these plans having to get to the departments, needing to hear from DOT and stuff, I don't expect that we're gonna have anything to present to you here in the month of September. Something comes up out of these reviews between now and then, and we feel like we need to have another meeting to hash out any details, or the applicant's team says, all right, we're struggling with, the landscaping or the rendering, or wants another review by this board. Obviously, we can schedule a meeting in September, but as of right now, I'm not seeing it on the radar. I think more likely we will be ready to come back in front of this board in October, and then hopefully move towards a final site plan stage in November or December, or as long as, the various departments need final plans to make sure all of their technical comments are addressed.
And Joe's point there that'll take too, because and I mentioned some of the comments we're still waiting for, the one I did not mention, I was gonna wait till. Is that we're still waiting for comments from our police communications, review and police communications 911. So we're waiting for those comments to come in. The initial feedback I had is that it's still need to get that put back together. There were a lot of concerns with the plan they looked at. Want to make sure that they had a chance to get the most up-to-date set of plan before they give us their final set of comments and feedback to the board before you move on to the next steps.
You okay?
Yeah, I am. I think from a schedule standpoint, I believe, Kathleen and Sean, you guys coordinated the original, TRC, TCC, meeting. So what I would ask is if we could have those plans, distributed to all the departments this week and, give them a few weeks to chew on it and have that teams meeting with all the parts from both municipalities in, sometime in early September. And then give another three weeks or so to then get their comments in to everybody. And that would hopefully put us in a position, the schedule that Joe would lay out. We could be back here in October in a position for the working donation. Just about final after that. So that schedule was fine.
Just realistic, Brad, you know, the city, Sean, you know, the town. You're gonna be able to get the departments to respond. And give us some way.
The timing is out, appropriate.
Time it's not.
Appropriate, keep that.
Sure.
Well, I can't go in any different direction than Brad, so yeah.
So Sean, you're making a appropriate. We'll hold you to that. I just don't want to hear in October, you know, we got this part, that,
Yeah,
respond. Kind of a project, like, everybody's not in town.
Yeah, and I would just say, you know, we talked about the secret coming back in October, but it does give this board another chance to really go into more of the details of the plans. And got comments like things that you brought up today, it's a great time to do it. So we have a step before we get to that final plan stage. So when the next time you see those plans come across, again, go through what we feel comfortable with all the different aspects of the project. Lighting, landscaping, access.
That the renderings is really good.
Sidewalks.
Absolutely. Colors, especially colors.
What's the negotiation, if you will, that's gonna take place about exchange? Is that started? I mean, clearly there's gonna be some negotiation at some.
On the school line of the road.
The road, we're fully on board with. We met, got a good meeting, what was it, 6-8 weeks ago. And it's court drilling's done after that, so, DPW, said, agreed with Dan on what needs to be done into Millersville so much. And we understand that's on us. The one thing that we asked at the time, to get forward with it, was to phase it, not to do the entire road in phase one, but do the majority of it in phase two, finish it out. So we're totally on board with that. We get that, we understand it's good or not, also, but the road does need. And then the sewer line, I think that's still a discussion. Topic of that video was really just done probably a month ago. So we have not gone back to pure waters with myself and with Dan and had a discussion. Those guys about, okay, what is the results really show, what really needs to be done, and who's going to be responsible for that. If we were using the sewer line, it's a different story, right? But we're not. But we're always open to discussions. Okay, so I consider one to be kind of a faith complete, the other one, we'll continue discussions with. That's fair enough.
We need to, kind of PCC buttoned up before we can see her.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That's where.
I totally agree with you.
Okay. The public is here tonight. People that are here, anybody have any comment?
Come on, Tom, you got something for us tonight, don't you?
We're good. Anybody have anything else?
You're gonna get the president done before I die.
We're trying.
Time. We stand adjourned.
Thank you. Thanks for your time, everybody. Appreciate it.